joining today. My name is Brian Lemick. I'm the Executive Director of Brady PAC, and I am thrilled to be with you all moderating this conversation between America's most influential gun violence prevention advocates. In the Senate, Mitch McConnell, the NRA, and a host of villains have prevented us from passing life-saving gun violence prevention legislation that the vast majority of Americans all support. Our hopes of the GVP Senate majority rests on these races in Georgia. And look, we've demonstrated the power we have as advocates to show up in Georgia. In 2018, Congresswoman Lucy McBath flipped a Republican district, and now we've flipped the state to support a Democratic president for the first time since 1992. There's no doubt in my mind that we can do it again on January 5th, but we need your help. We need the help of all of you on this call. So during this conversation, please consider making a donation. I'll ask a handful of times, and we really would appreciate that. That will go a long way in flipping the Senate. Now, before we launch into the panelist introductions, I'd like to introduce our friend who truly needs an introduction. Would like to hear from survivor, advocate, former Congresswoman, and Giffords co-founder, Gabby Giffords, to get us started. Gabby, can you please share a few words of inspiration?
Stopping gun violence takes courage. The courage to do what's right, the courage of new ideas. I've seen great courage when my life is on the line. Now is the time to come together, be responsible. Democrats, Republicans, everyone. We must never stop fighting. Fight, fight, fight. Be bold. Be courageous. The nation's counting on you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabby, and bold and courageous. You certainly have been as well. Thank you for everything. Okay, let's introduce our panelists. First, representing Georgia's 6th Congressional District, we have Representative McBath. Representative McBath, this issue is personal to you, and you've certainly turned your tragedy into action. Can you share your story and how that led you to get involved?
Well, thank you so much for that question, Brian. And yes, of course, I never expected that I would be where I am today. I never expected to be in Congress. I never expected to be a mother who lost her child to unnecessary gun violence. But I lost my son, Jordan, on November 23rd, 2012, in the national, the story people called as the national loud music killing, when my son and his friends were playing loud music in their car in Jacksonville, Florida. And they were shot upon 10 times by a man who felt emboldened and empowered with this gun under the Stand Your Ground law, simply because he didn't like the loud music that they were playing, but also because he racially profiled them. And having lost my son, Jordan, started asking very tough questions as to why these kinds of tragedies were happening. We just watched literally the same thing happen to Trayvon Martin just months before, and wanted to know why our legislators and our faith leaders and our state delegations were not standing up and protecting our families and our communities and keeping us safe from unnecessary gun violence. Began to speak out very candidly while we were even in trial, became the national spokesperson and faith and outreach leader for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America and Every Town for Gun Safety, which gave me my voice and the ability to really help build a grassroots organization of volunteers and people that are really, really working so hard every single day to make sure that no one experiences unnecessary gun violence. And that's basically what led me to decide to take this grassroots movement building that we were doing and translate that into action federally, because I recognize that, this gun culture that we're dealing with, it was going to take more than just the mobilizing on the ground and that activism, that we were going to have to get on the inside with the policymakers. And I wanted to be a policymaker that would champion in Washington this policy in particular, because not only had I become a victim of it, but I know that there are victims every single day. Over 100 people in this country die every single day to unnecessary gun violence, and it has to stop. And so that's what led me to stand up after the Parkland shooting. Those children were the same age as my son, Jordan, to really stand up and fight and champion for our families to keep us safe.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And really what you're doing for Jordan's legacy is incredible here. You really started your activism with Moms Demand Action, and I'm happy to introduce our next panelist, the founder of Moms Demand Action, Shannon Watts. And so, Shannon, you've led the charge at Moms, and you're a leading force in the movement. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of grassroots activism in the upcoming runoff in Georgia?
It is so incredibly important. We know these races could be razor thin, and every single conversation that we have with a voter counts. And look, this is a year when many of the traditional campaign tactics that we've used in the past won't work. But we do know that people are picking up their phones during the COVID crisis, and they are responding to text messages. And so that's why it's so incredibly important that advocates, including Moms Demand Action and Students Demand Action volunteers, are wearing out their phone batteries, calling and texting Georgia voters, and helping them make a plan to vote. And our volunteers won't disappear after Election Day. They will be right there to support Ossoff and Warnock when they win, and to push the whole Senate to finally pass meaningful legislation like a background check on all gun sales. It really is what I call unglamorous heavy lifting of grassroots activism that wins elections and gets common sense gun safety legislation passed. So our volunteers are sneaking in call time and texting time whenever they can, between breaks at work, while making dinner for their families, while we supervise remote school. And we are now in the final stretch of what has become a very long election year. So I really hope that everyone tuning in will carve out some time to help get Warnock and Ossoff across the finish line. You can donate by texting Georgia to 34131. And if you want to phone bank, just text the word peach to 64433, and we will get you all set up.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And I don't think anyone's been to an event in the last 5 or more years where there weren't red T-shirts there, and that's all you're doing. So thank you so much for all that you're doing and have done for the movement. Next, I'd like to introduce Chris Brown. Chris is president of Brady. Chris actually started her career with Congressman Moran, where she worked on the Brady bill in the 90s. So Chris, as the president of Brady, you've helped shape the conversation on gun violence as a national healthcare crisis. You launched the national ad and safe storage campaign, End Family Fire, and perhaps most relevant for the Georgia runoff, you helped create Team Enough. Team Enough is Brady's youth-led initiative. Can you talk a little bit about youth activism and how young people can help win these 2 crucial seats?
Yeah, thanks so much, Brian. And it's such a pleasure to be here tonight with these leaders of the gun violence prevention movement on such a critical election. We've seen young people make all the difference on our issue for the past several years, in particular. In Parkland, in the wake of the horrific shooting of Parkland, of course, the March for Our Lives occurred, and we saw millions of young people all across this country rise up and demand change, and change they got. There were a record number of younger voters who turned out in the 2018 midterms, and we had gun violence prevention champions elected to the House of Representatives, including Lucy McBath, who's with us tonight and is an incredible leader for our cause. We have just that moment again right now. We have about 76,000 new Georgia voters who registered before the U.S. Senate runoffs, and nearly 56% of those were under the age of 35. The youth vote can make a tremendous difference, and we all need to continue to find ways to engage youth to understand when I say youth, I will say I do mean people under 35, to mobilize younger people to turn out, because this election will come down, in the end, essentially to a few thousand votes. So literally every single vote counts and can make a huge difference. And a whole bunch of issues are on the line in this election. Ultimately, ours is also on the line. We have senators right now in Georgia who do not represent the will of the people. And ultimately, we have gun violence, which is impacting Georgians and impacting young people all across this country who don't feel safe when they walk to school, when we walk to school, don't feel safe in their communities. And we can change that. So at this point in time, we want everyone to come together to take action in all kinds of ways. And that means if you have a few extra minutes, writing a postcard. It means making calls, and it means sharing support financially for all of these efforts. Youth activists like those at Brady's Team Enough, Giffords Courage Fellows, Moms Demand Action, Student Demand Action, they're all working leadership, and we will absolutely continue to support and empower them. And thank you for all of those efforts in the audience as well.
Chris, thank you so much, and looking forward to hearing more in our question and answer. Now I'd like to introduce Jovania McDowell. Jovania, you unfortunately know the pain of losing a loved one to gun violence. As a Moms Demand Georgia chapter leader, a survivor, a spokesperson, a volunteer, would love to hear more about your experience, and can you tell us please about Jawan and about your personal stake and how this, about your experience, and can you tell us please about Jawan and about your personal stake and how this issue plays out in Georgia?
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm Jovania McDowell. There's a title that's riddled with so much pain, one that's unnatural and heavy to carry, and that's gun violence survivor. I'm also a volunteer with the Georgia chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. Gun violence and gun safety was a third rail issue. Now it's a kitchen table issue, especially among women voters who often determine elections. This runoff election is so important to my family and I because of our experience with gun violence. On March the 7th, 2016, we surprised Jawan at the school with his favorite chocolate chip bundt cake. He blew out 14 candles to celebrate his birthday. He talked about the spring formal that was coming up the next month, and he was excited about it, and we decided on what he would wear. He chose a navy and yellow bow tie with a yellow sweater vest, navy pants, and we laughed because he said, "Oh, and don't forget my tennis shoes." He was excited about his campus visit for the high school campus right across the way. He will be an incoming freshman that August. They gave him a souvenir, a class of 2020 keychain, and he immediately put his keys on it and placed it in his pocket. His oldest brother, his dad, and I reminisced about our freshman year of high school, and we said that high school can be very intimidating, but that he would do well. On Thursday, April the 7th, 2016, our lives were forever altered. Jawan was shot and killed by another teen playing with an unsecured firearm while visiting our family in Savannah, Georgia on his spring break. That same outfit that we selected for him for his spring formal dance, we buried him in. We placed his keychain in his pocket. His oldest brother took off his necklace and placed it around Jawan's neck. March the 7th, 2020, Jawan would have been celebrating his 18th birthday. He would have accompanied his oldest brother, his dad, and I to the voting booth to cast his ballot for the first time. Gun violence altered that as well. Now here in Georgia, we have the opportunity to elect 2 gun sense champions to the U.S. Senate. We must not be deterred or distracted, but we must be determined and driven to elect John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock. We are now Jawan's voice, and we are his vote. Thank you.
Jovania, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing that with all of us. You really have taken incredible action here, and so thank you. Robin Lloyd is next. Robin is a managing director of Giffords in DC. Robin leads Giffords governmental affairs, political, communications, engagement operations. Robin is very busy. Robin, one of Giffords' main missions this election cycle was to flip the Senate, which hinges on these two seats. If it's successful, can you tell us what kinds of policies we might be able to pass?
Thanks, Brian. As everybody has noted, electing John Ossoff and Reverend Warnock could not be more important. We need to flip the Senate in order to take meaningful action on gun safety. That's why Giffords has spent the entire 2020 cycle endorsing more than 200 candidates up and down the ballot. It's important that we elect gun safety champions at every level, but what we're here to do to talk about tonight is why it's so critical for the Senate. As Shannon and Chris both noted earlier, we are not going to have the opportunity to pass universal background checks unless we elect John Ossoff and Reverend Warnock. Senator Mitch McConnell has made it abundantly clear that he has no interest in listening to the voices of Americans from all across the country and bringing bipartisan gun safety legislation to the floor of the Senate. He continues to listen to the NRA, and so do Senators Perdue and Loeffler. We need leadership in the Senate to take action on this critically important issue. And as everybody knows, it is a matter of life and death. So I want to encourage everybody to text Georgia to 34131, as others have noted, and to do their best to volunteer, to phone bank, to talk to family and friends, to donate money, and do everything that we possibly can to elect these two gun safety champions to the Senate.
Thank you, Robin. Thanks so much. And that's actually a great transition here into our Q&A session. But just before we jump in, a reminder that we are here to support Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff. Election day is around the corner and every dollar is going to count. So please text Georgia to 34131. That's 34131 to donate. So the remaining questions are for the whole group. So everyone feel free to chime in here. I'll start. Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff will undoubtedly be champions for gun violence prevention and gun safety, but most people don't actually know where Senators Loeffler and Perdue stand. How can we shed light on their dangerous positions and their records?
Brian, I'll jump in.
Thank you.
Senator Perdue, for example, is an NRA A-rated member. He has taken over $2 million from the corporate gun lobby. And what that means is that he has voted against gun safety legislation 9 times. Every single time he's had an opportunity to do the right thing and listen to his constituents who are demanding safer gun laws for this country, he has voted against that for a total of 9 times. Senator Loeffler, although she hasn't been in office as long as Senator Perdue, she is also a rubber stamp for the corporate gun lobby and Senator Mitch McConnell. And they're not listening to their constituents, and we need to elect gun safety champions who will.
You know, I would just add to that, last weekend, for the second time, a former KKK leader showed up to a Loeffler rally, and they took a picture together. So we've seen sort of their interests, you know, in their stock portfolios certainly rise, while the death toll from gun violence and coronavirus is on the rise in Georgia. And look, Perdue did nothing to pass H.R. 8. That was a bill that would have closed loopholes in the background check system. During Loeffler's short time in office, she has made it very clear that she's prioritizing the gun lobby over the will of Georgia voters. She signed on to a dangerous concealed carry reciprocity bill. So, you know, in short, the backing from corporate lobby donors and other special interests, they've shown who they are and who they're working for, and it is not everyday Georgians.
And Brian, I just echo everything that both Robin and Shannon have said. One other point, just to add on to the points both of them have made, is that both Loeffler and Perdue have been very critical of the Affordable Care Act and have proven willing to drop thousands from their insurance in the middle of a global pandemic. We also know that critical coverage for gunshot victims was provided through the expanded care that the ACA offers. And so at every turn, these two individuals are going against what the average Georgian would benefit from, and certainly those who are subject to gun violence and struggling to survive after gun violence. As the just incredible hero, Gabby Giffords, well knows, the kind of care that you need and pulling that away is really practically criminal from my standpoint. And that's what these two individuals stand for.
You're absolutely correct, Chris. And thank you, Robin, and thank you, Shannon. And so just thinking about what's next in unseating Loeffler and unseating Perdue, winning these races will fundamentally shift the power balance in the Senate. But if we zoom out and if we look at the big picture, why is flipping the Senate such a crucial part of making long-term progress in gun safety? And why is Georgia so critical to that?
I can answer that. Flipping the Senate is such a crucial part of making long-term progress on gun safety for several reasons. Stating back, Congresswoman Lucy McBath co-sponsored the H.R. 8 bill, the Bipartisan Background Checks Act of 2019, a bill that passed in the House but stalled in the Senate. 90% of Americans, including gun owners and members of both parties, agree that we need gun action now to reduce gun violence. We already have gun sense champions going to the White House with the current administration in the U.S. House. Now we have an opportunity to include that in the Senate. There's so much at stake, so much on the ballot. Reverend Raphael Warnock stated that we must put on our moral clothes and cast our ballots. That's in our heart. That's our heart. I cannot support candidates whose stance is to fight against the incoming administration. I cannot support candidates whose agendas and policy will hurt or harm my family or my neighbors. So that is why I'm supporting John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, because compassion is on the ballot, integrity is on the ballot, morals are on the ballot, and gun violence prevention is on the ballot. Columbine in 1999, I've been shedding tears. I was 20 years old. My tears were once clear. Then you had Sandy Hook and so many others. Now my tears are red because of all the bloodshed. And I just have to ask the Senate, like, do y'all hear our tears, especially as gun violence survivors? And so we must do everything that we can to get John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock inside of the Senate.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? Chris, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I guess I would just add, I don't want to restate the incredible points Giovanni made because they're really important. And we have a situation where the Senate, led by Mitch McConnell, has stood in the way of the will of the people around an issue where we don't have many issues in public life, where we have more common ground or where the solutions are more sensible. And the best thing about these is it's not making a choice between gun owners and non-gunners or Republicans or Democrats or women or men. This is about real Americans and their lives, expanding the Brady background check system, closing the Charleston loophole, which is a loophole in the law that allows a gun sale to proceed even when the background check hasn't come back. These are very, very basic provisions that have been held up because we have a handful of people in the Senate led by Mitch McConnell who's stopping them from moving forward. This election in Georgia can fix that. And we can suddenly move forward with all of this legislation that all of our organizations have been seeking to enact now for some time. That's what's really at stake. So people talk about momentous things, I know sometimes too often. This is not talk. This really is that momentous. It's that opportunity for us, and it's that important for every American and their right to walk down the street without the fear of being shot.
Thank you, Chris. Shannon, you mentioned it earlier, phone banking, being out there. Can you talk to us a little bit about how moms are activating in Georgia and what they're doing to push for Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff to flip?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a very robust Georgia Moms Demand Action and Students Demand Action chapters in the state. But we also have volunteers all across the country who are participating in phone banks, making calls, sending texts, writing postcards every single day. You know, all of that matters. You don't have to live in Georgia to help from where you live. If you want to get involved, it's really easy. I will say again, you text the word PEACH to 64433, and we will set you up to make calls and send texts. You can also visit gunsensevoter.org. And you can join our army of grassroots volunteers in getting out the vote. It's really important to remember that gun safety isn't just a political winner, which we know it is, but it's also a moral imperative. And when you think about why it's important to help get out the vote, you know, in the 25 years since Congress passed significant gun safety legislation, about 800,000 Americans have been killed by gun violence, and countless more have been wounded. So we need to rewrite America's gun safety laws. We have to save lives. And as Chris said, you know, this is a momentous moment, and we really do need everyone to get off the sidelines and get involved.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shannon. And actually, it's a great point. It makes me think. I mean, we're all here. We're all here because among the many things that are at stake in the election, it's the future of our issue. It's the future of our children. I know it just devastates me to hear my kids are all home doing Zoom classes, to hear that students in Georgia are doing active shooter drills and trainings from their home. It's unimaginable. And so it really makes me think, you know, what else can we all be doing? We're hearing what Shannon's doing. We're hearing what moms are doing in Georgia. We know what Representative McBath will do as a member of Congress, Giovanni's efforts on the ground as well. But thinking about Giffords and Brady, Robin, can you maybe tell us a little bit about what you all are doing in Georgia and anything that has you really excited and really optimistic about this election?
Well, I do think that, as Shannon noted, and as you just noted, you know, there is an opportunity for everybody to plug in here, not just those folks in Georgia, but of course, Georgians. You guys have a huge responsibility to get out there and vote, and to be talking to your family and friends, and phone banking and volunteering, and making sure that folks know where the candidates are on the issues. We know nationally that over 60% of people are more likely to support a candidate who supports background checks. We know there are two candidates on the ballot who do support background checks, Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. And that means that Georgians need to make their voices heard. So in order to help do that, of course, Giffords is participating here tonight with our colleagues in the gun safety movement, which we're so proud to do. And I would just like to remind everybody that raising money is so critical in these last weeks. That's why we're all here tonight. So please don't forget to text Georgia to 34131. Again, this is it takes everybody participating in every possible way that they can for us to be successful.
Absolutely, Robin. There's so much at stake right now. Thank you for the reminder there of the contribution. Many hands make light work, and we know that so many of our organizations and so many of the campaigns that we all support are able to do so. They're mostly powered by grassroots dollars. Those $13, $14, $15 contributions add up. Don't forget that you can also offer monthly contributions. $10 a month goes a very long way for these campaigns. I know we don't have that long of a time frame, so if you condense it, that's even better. But Chris, I'd like to put the same question to you, and just knowing Brady the way that I do, can you just share a little bit with us about what Brady's working on right now, what has you optimistic, and how you think we can make some meaningful change in Georgia?
Well, I see our chapter supporters and grassroots partners around the country all incredibly focused on this election coming up. I think that the reality that we have an opportunity to truly make meaningful change around gun violence is clear to all of us who are in the movement. So every day I'm seeing more postcard campaigns that are being sent out directly talking to voters. And that's very, very important. We can all use our time to really emphasize with the individuals who are living in Georgia the opportunity that they have to make a difference. And I guess following on Robin's point, I think part of it is everyone can feel a little bit fatigued. And certainly I know I did after the election in November, given all that was at stake. But this election is really the final conclusion of that election to determine how much we can really get done around our issue and so many others. No one wants to be sitting on January 6th and looking back and saying, I wish there was something more I could do. And dollars here are so critically important. So please, if you have even an extra few dollars or many more than that, do text Georgia to 34131 and make sure that you're not looking back and thinking maybe there was something more that we could do. And for us at Brady, it's obviously all of the activity that's taking place in the C3 and C4 side of our work. But of course, Brady PAC has leveraged joint fundraising with both campaigns and utilized grassroots support and email lists to raise money. But we still need more. This is an absolutely critical election, and it really will come down to that election day. So call, participate, and encourage your friends and family members to do the same.
Thank you. And I think the theme here is activate your network, pick up the phone. As Shannon said, they're doing this in between making dinner. I mean, 3-5 minutes, that's a handful of calls right there. So please, there's lots of ways to engage and encourage all of you to do so. This has been a great discussion. Giovanna, thank you so much for sharing your story, your roots in this movement, and all that you've done to create this meaningful change. There's a lot more to come, and I have no doubt that you're going to be in this fight all the way through. Georgia is not the last stop for you. Robin, thank you for everything also, and thank you for just being such a guiding light on all the policies and just being such a great person to turn to all the time, and Giffords being such a great resource for all of us. And Shannon, again, it's every single event. There's just flooded with the red t-shirts, and that all is your brainchild, and we're all very grateful for that. You've done so much for this movement. And Chris, your leadership here and really growing Brady and living on and building off the legacy of Jim and Sarah Brady has been really incredible. And so thank you so much for everyone. And Representative Giffords, you've been doing so much for us also, and we're so grateful for all of your leadership. It would really mean a lot if you could close us out with some final words, help keep us motivated between now and the election. Gabby, please take it away for some final words here.
I've known the darkest of days of pain and uncertain recovery. But confronted by despair, I've summoned hope. Confronted by paralysis and aphasia, I respond with grit and determination. I put one foot in front of the other. I found one word and then I found another. My recovery is a daily fight, but fighting makes me stronger. Words once came easily. Today I struggle to speak, but I've not lost my voice. America needs all of us to speak out, even when you have to fight to find the words. I'm also in a second fight, the fight to stop gun violence. It's also a fight forged by tragedy and pain, a fight that can change lives. We are at a crossroads. We can let the shooting continue, or we can act. We can protect our families, our future. We can vote. We can be on the right side of history. Please join us in this fight. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabby. Fight we will and vote we must. Thank you so much to our panelists, Representative McBath, everyone that joined us on this call. Thank you. Be safe, vote, and don't forget to give to 34131. Text Georgia to 34131. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.